the business problems are still the business problems. We're trying to sell something, we're trying to drive margin on it, we're trying to grow our business, we're trying to enter into new markets. None of that has changed. AI is a powerful way to improve any number of dimensions along along sort of those things that you're trying to optimize, and do that. Maybe you can now do it differently than you did it in the past. But that's where the business case needs to start and drive from that. That's what I think ultimately the enterprise use case is, and the series of enterprise use cases. And then maybe it starts with process optimization, but how you drive revenue lift and new product introduction. All of those opportunities are where I think the highest value is, not the a you know Claude can help me with my, or Gemini can help me with my spreadsheet, and I can free up some hours, because it's
Yeah.
really hard to capture that time.
And just think about this. I mean, no organization would unleash a new CRM or ERP in their organization without massive planning and thinking about in a business case. But literally, we're unleashing the most powerful technology you could argue that we've ever built, and we're turning it loose in the organization without the same level of rigor that we would with a basic software package. And then we're stunned by the outcome. So I think it's because of the nature of the technology. It's deceptively easy, but it's complex. And so I think the strength of AI is also its potential weakness if you're not thinking in these traditional kinds of ways around business cases.
We sort of skipped over a little bit the idea of TCO, and I know that TCO to me is sort of the full scoping of the denominator in Nicole's example. And tokens are certainly a hot topic to talk about, but maybe we ought to just broaden there's some other things in there that when you embrace this technology to drive solutions in your business that are part of that denominator. Who wants to jump in on that one?
Yeah, I'll throw in some thoughts there. One is that, it used to be a slow enough development process that you'd be very thoughtful about it. You'd build a very finite number of features. You could test those features relatively easily. And that has really changed. We can now build an infinite number of features, and they're nearly impossible to test. So the entire process of how do we know this thing is working has gone from, oh yeah, we'll spend a few weeks testing it because there was only a few things to test, to we're going to spend months trying to test all of the different ways that people might use it. It's very bespoke. You can customize it to no end. Uh, it's really changed the way the entire process of software works, because it's not a solution, one solution for everybody. It is lots of similar but different little solutions that can solve very specific problems.
And so that's where the creativity comes in. Right? So if we just say, okay, the way we test is how we always tested and make it human intensive, then absolutely. But how can we now, and we're, leverage agents to be that eval? So agents are testing agents at the speed of agents. And so in defining what done really should look like. And I think that again is the power of a model like Fable, where it can reason on what done looks like based on intent of the solution, where typically, again, that would be very human intensive. And I'm not saying it's a silver bullet, but again, that's where the creative thinking has to be applied with these new models.
I think that's spot on. I think another thing that we need to think about here, and I think Shanta, you alluded to this, is who is that human in the loop that will own this? There is a cost to that human in the loop who will own it, because despite the fact that we are building agents that are technology powered, that, even do the auto evals, they do a lot of the things that our humans used to do. I mean, heck, I used my agent to write a PRD this morning, right? That's a very human task. Um, you can use the agents to do all the different things, but you still have a human who needs to manage it, who needs to own it, who needs to care and feed it so that it continues to stay relevant. So that's another thing you need to include in that
Um,
denominator, that cost.
I love that point, and I think that's one again the industry is going to catch up on. Is okay. I can't just put this into production and then forget about it. It has to be cared for, and you call it whatever you want, agentic ops, but that a notion of being able to support that in production, I think, is a key to your question, Jim. And I love that point, Nicole.
Agreed. So so managing the agent, the cost of sort of ensuring that it's doing what it's doing. Shanti, I think the organization's ability to ingest change, uh,
Hmm.
or in there is the cost component. Um,
I'm going to be controversial on, well, I don't know, maybe not controversial. By the way, you can tell I'm an all numerator guy in whatever.
It's okay. I'll
um,
balance you out.
yeah, there you go. But I think there's so much we have to invest in because I think AI is adopting at the pace it's trusted. Can you trust it in the organization? And building that trust has a cost. And so being able to do that in a way that's optimizing that part of the denominator, I think is critically important. And it goes to being face to face in these processes at key points in the whole development process of an agent, up front, in the middle, maybe at the end when you're doing UAT, and you're able to tighten that cycle. So again, I think that's a big piece of this as well. That total cost of ownership.